Gian, everyone. Wow, this is super exciting. And everyone, welcome to today's MA session on no sales as a GTM for bottom of economy. I'm Moonlight, your host for this exciting session, and I'm thrilled to have all of you here to dive deep into topic. Let's shaping the future of decentralized network. And of course, as we know, that no sale has made a big comeback, right? And for good reasons. We have an incredible lineup of speakers today, each of the experts in their respective ecosystem. Let me quickly invite them to introduce themselves over here, and we are going to follow the order on our agenda. Also, friends, be sure to stay tuned because we are giving away 4 free media no licenses to our top listeners and those with the best questions in the comments. So let's get ready. And first, we would like to invite our Ayush and Samit from Hado01 to introduce yourself. How about Ayush? You go first. Thank you.
Hey everyone, great to meet you. Thank you so much, Moonlight, for doing this, and thank you so much everyone for joining in. It's already 150 plus people here. I'm pretty excited to see all of you here. Just a quick introduction about myself. I'm Ayush. I'm one of the co-founder and CEO of Huddle01. At Huddle, we are building a deepen protocol for real-time communication. The call which we are doing here is real-time, essentially, but it's running on a centralized server. We have built a people powered network where rather than using a centralized platform, you can essentially use a decentralized architecture. And we have built our own app very similar to Google Meet. We have built our own audio spaces very similar to X spaces. We have also essentially we power a lot of these different kind of protocols already who require audio and video, and now we are essentially working towards decentralizing these nodes, where these nodes perform the task of routing audio and video packets. So the packets of my audio and video that gets routed through nodes rather than the data centers of AWS. And I'm super excited to see all of you here, like all of the people here who are speaking. They're legends in their field itself, and a couple of them pioneered it. And I'm very excited to listen to all of you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Ayush. And next, we would like to go over to our speaker over here, and also from the Huddle team, our Samit, to introduce yourself. Thank you. Hi, I'm not sure if Sasmi can hear us. I said you're on the stage. Let's double check. That's okay. We can always circle back to you. And how about we are going to invite MJ from Moonville to introduce yourself and introduce the project to us. Thank you.
GM, this is MJ. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Moonville. Moonville is a ZKR2 focused gaming ecosystem that recently draw a lot of attention. So we came over here from a game studio at the very beginning, kept building for over 2 years, ended up leveling up our ecosystem to be more of a gaming focused ecosystem with not only gaming products, but also we have an operation layer that's aggregating the players and gamers' identity, behavior, etc., together with the infra layer. So we are working closely with Polygon to build our own CDK L2 chain to empower the gamer experience. We recently just kickstarted our node sales so far, with whitelist pretty much wrapped up and public sales still ongoing. So very happy to share some of our experience and glad to jump on a call with so many awesome founders in this area.
That is marvelous. Thank you so much. And we will also like to double check. Yeah, we have Kartik from Aether over here. Would you like to introduce yourself and introduce your project to our audience? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super excited. Um, so I lead special projects at Aether around ecosystem, mostly stuff like node sale or eco fund and so on, right? So we did our own node sale back in March, and Aether itself is a decentralized enterprise grade cloud compute infra. So for us, anything to do with decentralized GPU compute, that's basically us. It operates more like a marketplace model. We don't own any infra, and then mostly serve gaming and AI use cases on the compute side, but happy to basically support anyone who needs GPU compute.
That is amazing. I already see that we start to have many questions posted in the comments over here. And friends, once again, friendly reminder, be sure to post your best question for a chance to win a free note. This is just amazing. Following that, we would like to invite Jack the head of BD at OG Labs, to introduce yourself and your project to us. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Moonlight and Huddle L1 for hosting. And of course, our communities for tuning in. I'm Jake Salerno, the head of business development at Zero G, building the first decentralized AI operating system with the goal of making AI infrastructure open, accessible, secure, and transparent. And our mission is to enable the future where AI is a public good, decentralized, and secure, allowing people to fully trust these AI systems.
This is marvelous. Thank you for the intro. And we would like to invite Jing Han, the founder from Blue Whale, to introduce yourself and your project to us. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. So many familiar faces here. Very excited to be speaking with great founders around me. At Blue Whale, we are building the first Web3's intelligence layer, aggregating consumer behavior on chain in order to train and understand and contextualize the information into insights. So our main superpower, is to connect individuals on chain with the enterprises that want to reach them, so that communication engagement, as well as good airdrops or good rewards can be earned by the individual on Blue Whale. Now, we actually started the node sale quite early. I would say, like our private sale started end of September. I ran out of tier one, tier twos already, and then just recently kicked off our public sale with Swissborg and OKX last week. And excited to be sharing more lessons learned and how we are doing along the way.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Hanjin, for the intro. And I see that we have Peter joining through the X Protocols official handle. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself and your project to us? Thank you.
GM. It's great to meet so many friends here in the space. I'm Peter. I'm the co-founder and core contributor of X Protocol. X Protocol is an entertainment-focused deepen ecosystem designed for mass adoption of Web 2 users into Web 3. We double as a publishing company and also an incubator, and have grown to over 1.5 million users this year. And also we are building a node running infrastructure with our flagship product, which we actually launched the device sale today. It's called XForge, which is the first node-operated deepen smartphone, which enables users to conveniently onboard and participate in the Web3 ecosystem.
Nice, and glad to have you over here joining us. And friends, if you would like to bring your official Twitter handle to the stage, feel free to do so. Next, we would like to warmly welcome our guest speaker, Chuck. He's from Arbitron. And would you like to introduce yourself? We also will starting from you to run our panel discussion today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's super clear.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for having me. Great to be on the space with Huddle and many other familiar faces like Blue Whale and Aether. I think the reason I'm on is because a lot of these node sales are taking place on Arbitrum, including Blue Whale, Aether's most successful node sale of all time. Kartik did great work there, was also on Arbitrum. Huddle is going to be an Arbitrum Orbit chain as well as hosting their node sale on Arbitrum. I sort of consider myself the internal champion of node sales at Off-Chain Labs. I think they're a great primitive. I think that they are the second coming of a new way for capital formation and community participation in the space. And yeah, it's great to be on and chatting and hearing from the teams that are sort of paving the way for this sector of the space.
Thank you so much, Chuck, for the intro. And now let's jump into the discussion. Chuck, we'll also start from you. And the first question is, could you please tell us more about Stylus and what are the benefits for participating in that project? Thank you.
Yeah, so glad you asked. Stylus is one of the biggest technical releases Arbitrum has had in the last 2 or 3 years, probably. What it is it gives programmers the ability to write their contracts in Rust, C, and C++. So traditionally, the EVM, you only write your smart contracts in Solidity. Arbitrum adds a co-equal, Stylus adds a co-equal WebAssembly virtual machine, which gives you the power to use these old, broadly adopted languages with much, much deeper and richer libraries, especially as it relates to cryptography heavy use cases. So for some of these like computationally and memory heavy use cases, we've seen 10 and 100x reduction in costs, which is really exciting for programmers and people who are building these things. I think for me, who's more on the partnership side, one day you could only write your contracts in Solidity, and there's about 50,000 people in the world, give or take, who are proficient at doing that. And when it comes to Rust and C++, there's probably on the order of 2 to 5 to 10 million of those developers. So my total addressable market 100x overnight, and we're really excited to see people build with Stylus. The DAO is funding 5 million ARB, so give or take $2.5 million worth of apps and infra in the coming weeks. We'll definitely share more about that. Happy to share the link with anyone. My DMs are open. It's really, really an exciting initiative that we're excited to kick off.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the introduction about Silas to us. And we've also, like to talk about deeping, because why do you think so many deeping projects are building on top of Arbitrum? What is the secret sauce over there for attracting so many projects wanted to grow over Arbitrum? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. I think the community on Arbitrum is very strong. Arbitrum is the best place to do node sales because it has the most ETH, and node sales are sort of by definition synergistic with deep-end projects. And then also Stylus is definitely a big boost for the deep-end projects. But yeah, I would love to hear Carton and Susmit and Ayush's thoughts there, as they are deep-end builders on Arbitrum themselves.
But also need to highlight that Arbitrum really supports you. Like they shout you out.
Yep. Like I'm like being a great fan of Arbitrum here. Like so, our one of core proposition, like if we see like many other chains are quite interested in getting the DRTC network on their chain, but our decision factor was very simple, right? So we made friends with Caldera and everything. So ecosystem felt very right. So like Caldera actually made our layer 3 without charging anything, and they're like helping us in from marketing to every side of things. So even from the marketing angle and even from other technology, we have been getting a lot of supports from the officer, from the team and other part of things. Apart from that, also like what I feel is like Arbitrum feels like credible neutral. So it does not feel like it's like I have to ask for someone's permissions and all of those parts. It's like free to use, free to have, but also it's just like the liquidity layer of Web3, right? So if you see like the massive liquidity is actually on Arbitrum, so you can like basically make apps that like that can like basically like it's like a playground, open playground for everyone to make new kind of innovative apps also. Particularly stylus is also very interesting for us. Like the way it is interesting is like we in our DRTC network are exploring Rust, and right, so now you can use Rust to basically program your blockchain, and you can also use Rust to basically program real-time communication. And this would like basically give a very good interesting use case, so people can like kind of build live e-commerce like, and that too just happening in a very decentralized way on token in itself. So the main advantage of Rust, apart from the TAM, is also what I feel is the leverages that it brings with the language. You have this power and compilation level of C++. You can make it bite size, like it's called WASM, so it can go to IoT devices and even smaller devices, and it's more performant also. And the other part is like it is interoperable. So like you can interoperate with other language very easily, either it be Python and all of those parts. So even like so in our like AI agent use case, what we are exploring is like making our like SDKs Rust compatible, or like internal infrastructure so Rust, so that basically we are interoperable and we are also basically compatible with every devices. Rather let it be like Android or iOS or IoT, you get that advantage. So like I'm quite fascinating. Like we are living in this era. Like you have this leverages of like devices. You have leverages of tokens and everything. So this particularly gives a very interesting angle to deepen, right? So what deepen is actually a decentralized physical infrastructure, but that those physical infrastructure are like owned by users, but then they have to be coordinated, and the tokens basically gives you the best way to coordinate in itself. But particularly like what we have seen is like industry is actually growing, right? So previously, like you used to see like people used to fork bitcoins, so people like made litecoin and other various 3000 coins. Then after bitcoin, like people basically made like turing complete machines on top of bitcoin that gave rise to ethereum and everything. Right now what we are seeing is like people are making layer 2s, and on top of layers there is like another layers called layer 3, and that is what I feel is like arbitrum's main advantage is there. And that is what I feel is like the future is like having your own layer 3s and all of those parts. But again, like those are on the technical levels that we can see that the industry is advancing. But apart from like if you see like the way people raised capital and formed, the node seed is like the best of them. Like if you see previously like ICO used to happen, then NFT, then there was a DeFi wave, and after DeFi wave there was an NFT wave, and right now we are seeing a node wave. So particularly if you see from the last 6 months, in fact if you see the data for last year, people who have done actually node sales have basically been successful in their node sale also, and they have been successful in TZ markets also. So like it had, and it's primarily for the fact like previously what used to happen was like people used to run free nodes, but then they have to stake large amount of money that would range like for ethereum it's like 32, it comes around to $100,000 and all. But with this node sales, you're basically putting very small amount of money in comparison. It's just $320. So it's much more democratized if you see how the previous generation network used to launch. But like if you also see like launching a network with nodes and borrowing this cryptoeconomic security from layer twos is like a very good way to go. Like you have this thing, like you can customize your chain for your own blockchain. Like that's one of the things. But apart from that, we are here having like all the industry leaders. Like we have like Ether, Blue Whale, Moon Whale. All of them are performing super well in their node sales market. I'm like kind of here to like actually listen from their experience, and also like any tip that they would like to give to all of us.
Thank you so much, Sasmi, for the additional information. And friends, I would like to also introduce Sasmi as the co-founder and CEO at Halo 01. Yeah, because previously with some connection issues on X, so that we skip introduction of Sasmi. Thank you for adding the materials over here. And also thank you so much, Chuck, for letting us know regarding why Arbitron has become such a popular platform for deeping projects, right? The combination of scalability, security, developer friendliness, definitely seems like winning formula. Thank you so much for sharing the information with us. And we are going to move on to the next panel discussion segment. We would like to welcome our Halo 01 team, Ayush and Sasmi, to answer our first question, which is what is the importance of media nodes in decentralizing real-time communication through Halo 01? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, media nodes, we've been building for 4 years now, Moon, and it's the whole idea was pretty simple. The idea was that we have not innovated a lot in communication over the last couple of years, and what we need to do, where like if you think about it, like we went from Skype days, which was in 2000s, to right now in 2020, almost 2025, and we are still using Zoom right now, where the only thing which has improved is number of screens. You had two screens in the Skype days, now you have 2000 screens. But for humans to communicate and to collaborate and to innovate, you need to make sure that the communication infrastructure becomes better. And right now, the calls which we do, yeah, like right now, I'm just assuming that I'm in Delhi. Karthik is in Delhi. Maybe Sushmit is in Mumbai. A couple of people are in different parts of APAC region. A couple of people are in states right now. But interestingly, all of these calls are getting routed through a central server in North Virginia. So because Elon Musk has set the servers in North Virginia, so all the calls get routed through that server and comes back. Now imagine me talking to you right now. That's the reason why X spaces fail a lot when there are a lot of people from APAC region and a lot of people from different regions in the world. It creates a whole flurry of not very performant way to do audio and video calls. Now, if you want to do a performant way to do audio and video calls, you need to make sure that you built it in a bottom up manner, where rather than getting all these calls getting routed through these central servers, if Ayush is in Delhi, he gets connected to a server in Delhi or a node in Delhi. If Jake is in, let's suppose, in States, in Los Angeles, he gets connected to a node in Los Angeles. Same goes with if Han is in essentially in other part of APAC region, they get connected to a node in APAC region. And that's how this whole system of Huddle 01 nodes work like, where we have this mini small number of nodes, like an Airbnb kind of structure, which gets created all around the earth. And that essentially becomes much more better, much more performant, much more private as compared to the central servers out there. So the communication, we have not even touched the scratch the surface of the innovations possible in communication. And that's where we come in. Like any games where you play an MMORPG game on Zai, you require an audio and video for players to chat with each other. If you are talking on X Spaces, if you are talking on with a LLM, any kind of thing which you do in communication requires a performant way to do that. And we have essentially done that in a manner where your laptop enough is powerful enough to run these nodes themselves and to route these audio video packets themselves. We have already started by building demand first. So we have a demand of 7-8 million minutes of meeting already. Like last 3 years, we just were building demand, building our own products, building our own infrastructure, making sure that people can run efficiently. If you want audio and video in your own apps, use our SDKs. And that's how we have solved the demand side first, and now we are solving the supply side. And that's where node sales become a very interesting scenario of with Zai starting, and then essentially Aether completely coming in the market, and just making sure that creating that whole splash that node sales is a very good JTM. And then with all the players here, like X Protocol is doing right now, Zero G is also coming up, Blue Whale has been doing for a while now, and this has become a phenomenal way to bootstrap the network for any kind of compute intensive, bandwidth intensive, or any kind of digital resource network intensive task which you want to do. So we do that for bandwidth. A lot of other people here do that for compute. A couple of them do it for other digital resource networks. And yeah, that's where our node sales is coming up right now, and where you will be able to run these nodes and power any kind of audio and video calls on Earth. Maybe even soon, over time, Zoom can run on this network rather than using AWS and paying millions of dollars. They can pay smaller amount of money and can have a better experience. So yeah, that's what media notes are, and it's happening on 6th of November and 8th of November. Yeah, that's about it.
Wow, that is coming soon, right? In early November. So for instance, something to expect after the huge election, right? The Super Tuesday. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's coming soon for the HODL node to launch. And also we'd like to know about how will the upcoming HODL 01 media node cell enable community-driven decentralization and make way for a bottom-up economy. Thank you. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for, guys, I got to drop for a call, but thanks so much for having me. It's been a great time chatting with everyone. And good luck to all the ongoing node sale teams. I'm sure you guys are going to crush it.
Thank you so much, Chuck, for joining us.
Thanks, Shank. But yes, I think for us, what we are doing is simply, it's a great strategy for doing capital formation. It's a great strategy for doing decentralizing network. We have seen a lot of nodes in the past, like doing different kind of strategies. There was Merkle mining. There was what Filecoin did before, and it was all phenomenal in their own time frame. But now I think economically gating it in a manner where people can just buy these nodes and can run these nodes, make sure that you have best of the people who will be running these nodes themselves or delegating it. And that's where it becomes a very interesting go to market strategy, where now only the people who essentially will be putting either a digital resource network into the system, they are a part of it, or people who are serious about it, they are a part of it. And you have a more efficient way of token distribution to different kind of people. And yeah, that's where the go to market for us and nodes becomes like a prime case example. I think it all started with the whole like the Zai thing, and when the Aether essentially did that, that was a very good case study on how quickly you can just bootstrap the network with Ether did with checker nodes and now with edge nodes as well. That became a very good system for as a yardstick to see that how you can build like a beautiful people powered system using this mechanism. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for letting us know. It's also fascinating to hear how community-driven decentralization could be a game changer for how does one's ecosystem. And follow up, how do you ensure node operators are incentivized and aligned with the long-term goals of the network? Thank you.
This is for Huddle 01. Okay, if it's a Huddle 01, yeah. So for us, what we have done is that there are two kind of phases here. I'll pick up on the bootstrap phase. Sushmit can talk about the performance phase as well. But bootstrap phase is that right now anyone there are totality there will be 20,500 nodes in phase one, where you can buy like a cap number of nodes, run these nodes onto different on yourself by yourself, or you can run it on a NAS, or you can run it on different kind of these platforms, maybe in a Raspberry Pi, Orange Pi, or NAS, which includes EastBlue, NodeOps, Mintair, a lot of them. Like we have been working with a lot of these partners, and you can run these nodes themselves on these platforms. And the bootstrap phase will have 21% of rewards, where 21% of the tokens will be reserved for the people who are helping in bootstrapping the supply side. Similar to what happens in Uber, right? When you have it's a minimum guarantee because you are making sure that the supply side is getting bootstrapped, so you're getting that reward. And then is a performance minting reward. Performance minting reward is essentially for people who actually have done good, have been powering bandwidth in the network, and that powering that bandwidth in the form of actually doing the task. So the call which we are doing on X right now, or the call which we do in any kind of these audio video based scenarios in the world, that gets routed through your nodes. So you earn much more than you earn essentially a good amount of rewards on a daily basis for doing that kind of task. So yeah, that's how the bootstrap phase and performance minting phase works. In the bootstrap phase, you earn 500 tokens on a daily basis, and in performance minting, you can earn much more.
Got it. Thank you so much for letting us know about that, because earning rewards definitely something that our users are really, really paying attention to, right? And following that, we're going to move over to our next segment over here with MJ from Moonville. And the first question for you is we know Moonville has just wrapped up your wireless and public node sale. How has it helped you to build a game first, community driven ecosystem? And what are your plans ahead? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started 2 weeks ago to officially kick off the whitelist round. And right now we wrap up the whitelist round already, and the public node sales is still ongoing. And we are still working very hard with local communities, getting their engagement and the interest. So I think so far right now we still see a lot of the purchase from different type of community. I think we navigated a quite shaky market in the past 2 weeks, been up and down, etc. And the node narrative has been controversial, right, due to some of the recent failed cases. But from our side, right, so we truly believe in the vision that in the future what we want to build. We started from a studio, as what I mentioned. So our game was comprises of the game development veteran together with Web3 native since about 2 years ago. But along the way, although the game dev has been doing well, we gradually realized that right now for the operation, publishing infra, the whole industry is still in its early stage, right? So if we want to leverage our partner to help us out, we don't have much choices around the market, at least around that time, right? So we ended up decided to take an even more bold approach that why don't we build those things by ourselves to empower the end user experience, players experience, as well as builder experience. So until now, we see Moonville, aka as an ecosystem, which is a buzzword being abused by a lot of people as well. But we see ourselves as the ecosystem with three key dimensions. One is a product layer. So basically the games that we see as our unfair advantage based on our past experience from Riot, Tencent, MiHoYo, etc. That game products is always our core. Together with the second part is operation layer. So we want to aggregate the gamer players' identity, behavior, traction, etc., to help them better understand who they are and how they can leverage their identity to help our ecosystem to be better, and also taking the ride with us to get their rewards as well. And the third part is the infra layer, right? So that's the CDK L2 I mentioned, that we would prefer to build our own layer 2 chain to empower the developer experience and also end user experience as seamless as possible. So getting back to your question, right, is that I think the node sales or the node itself is naturally and authentically contributing to the infra layer by empower the node owners and users to run the data, own the data, operate the data together with us by taking the approach of the decentralization of DA layer. So that's how we see that in the future, the infra would be governed by the node owners together with ourselves to make the ecosystem better. For the next step, so we've been quite heads down focusing on the products for over 2 years, but we see that the successful of ecosystem require a multi-dimensional approach. So we will see more of the delivery not only on the game side, but also on the operation and the infra side, together with our allies from the community, from the users, from the node owners to build our Moonwheel ecosystem altogether.
Nice. Thank you so much, MJ, for sharing the experience. And it's definitely inspiring to see how no sales have helped foster a gamer first ecosystem. Thank you. And of course, we have a follow-up question. What strategies do Moonwheel employ to ensure that nodes are distributed fairly and effectively to maintain decentralization? Thank you.
Yeah, I think first is that I think the decentralization and the empowerment is one of the most critical and important part to build up an ecosystem that can embrace as many strategic ally as possible, right? So I think before everything, we spent actually a long time discussing back and forth, which is, by the way, the key reason that we delayed our node sales for a few months is that we want to make sure at least it's an authentic approach that we are empowering people to be our ally and have the superpower, have the gear to go build that with us altogether. We actually saw a lot of people that don't really know what Node is, why Node is contributing before we started to raise money from the Node sales, which is, as previously mentioned, right, it's a good capital formation approach. But I think in the end, it needs to be able to provide the fundamental, like why you need nodes, what nodes is contributing, why the node owners, node holders will be able to participate in the journey that you aspire to build in the long run. That could be breakdown into a couple of things. Going back to your question, right? The strategy that we have is that I think I would see that as the three key things. One is for the tech stack, we want to guarantee that the node itself is playing a critical role as part of the infrastructure that we can not only enable the people to join us authentically, but also literally contributing along the way with a dynamic approach, right? So in the end, they are feeling, oh, this is not just a capital formation thing, but I'm literally part of the journey together with a project that I'm bullish about, right? This is the tech stack can help them to make it happen. And number two is to guarantee it's being distributed fairly and effectively to maintain decentralization. We want to make sure that we are thoughtful and strategic about who we are targeting to for the node buyers. It's not only about quantity, like 50,000, 100,000 nodes that you're rolling out, but also about the diversity, right? Decentralization is not only about how many people are contributing to the decision, but also how diversified it is. So we want to make sure that we can embrace the key allies as a holistic goal that potentially could cover, let's say, some of the strategic VCs that can bring the strategic value with whales, strategic partners, key community contributors, and different type of gamers all together by providing an easy to access node approach. So in the end, it's not only about how many people, but also it's about how diversified it is that people can contribute in a different way by leveraging their own attribute. And number three, right, the strategic approach that we took, besides the technology stack approach, targets, but also distribution, right? So we also learn a lot of lessons from the previous node sales cases. In the end, we want to make that as a fair distribution, right? So whitelist run is the best way for us to target the right audience that we can embrace, but also building up the momentum to showcase a positive signal, which we actually enjoy a lot from the positive signal we got from the whitelist run that helped the public run to go really, really well, especially for the lower tiers. But also we want that to be fair to the community. For those who were not able to get the whitelisted spot, they were still able to participate in the lower tiers instead of we joke like they are not being rugged by the VCs or institutionals. They are also being able to get access to lower tiers as other people do. And people may have heard from us that we got the 2 million investment from Polygon. We work with Polygon to anchor their investment coming in with an average cost around the mid-tier, so it's like 100 million valuation, is that we want them to show also a signal that Polygon as a strategic partner would even prefer to have the community coming in with lower tier so that we can co-build the whole thing together instead of only anchoring the institutionals at lower tiers.
Got it. Thank you so much, MJ. Yeah, ensuring fair distribution of nodes is definitely important, right, for maintaining decentralization more Web3ers. Thank you. And we have one last question for you. How do you see node cell contributing to long-term sustainability for decentralized network, and especially in the context of Moonville's ecosystem? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the whole point, the key thing is how we can maintain the momentum as a alignment building or co-building concept for the whole ecosystem, right? So in the end, I think node sales is not only a capital formation for money raising, but also an effective identity validation to empower our audience, empower our ally, to make them feel that they are being respected, embraced, to contribute in the ecosystem for the long term. So when we are saying the long term, is that I think their role to own nodes, run the nodes, could play different roles. So getting back to the question, right, is that I think the way that, especially in the context of our ecosystem, we would love to empower that as a progressive node operator. Right? Meaning there will be three phases, at least from now on. So the phase one is more like the lower hanging fruit that we are decentralizing DA layer for people to come in, playing a critical role as part of the layer 2 chain, that they will be able to, as what I mentioned, run the data, operate the data, own the data to contribute to the DA layer. So that's a start point. Phase two is that we will progressively expand their scope from not only DA layer, but also being able to cover the verifier and the prover to be also decentralized. So that's going back to the fundamental decentralization concept, is that we want them to own and govern the whole infrastructure at least. The phase three is that gradually we also want to empower more on the node owners. The concept I call that node plus, meaning that although node itself is more like an infrastructure component, we would prefer to tie the fundamental of the node together with our holistic ecosystem narrative, right? So potentially it could be revenue sharing from the games or linkage with the tokens, etc., so that they can feel as a node owner, they are the owner of not only the infrastructure as a key component, but also the holistic Moon ecosystem by being able to get value accrual from the general revenue streaming from our side. So that's the holistic vision. We hope that we can get there as soon as possible. It takes time, so keep tuned, and we will keep all you guys updated for sure.
Nice. Thank you so much. Yeah, long-term sustainability is definitely important for all of the decentralized network. And thank you for sharing your expectation to us. And following that, we're going to jump to our next segment and invite Jack from OG Labs to answer a few questions. The first one is from OG Labs perspective. How will this node cell help you gain a competitive edge over other decentralized networks? Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, piggybacking off Moonvale, by fostering a large and geographically diverse community of node operators, we're going to be able to decentralize critical AI infrastructure. So this ensures no single entity can dictate the direction of the network or make decisions unilaterally. So in contrast, many networks that claim to be decentralized, they still might exhibit points of centralization. Maybe that's a small group of validators or node operators that retain disproportionate control. This concentration of power introduces risks like network outages, performance degradation, collusion, and of course, our approach prioritizes genuine decentralization, distributing control across a broad community to mitigate these risks and ensure a more robust, transparent, and equitable AI ecosystem.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Jack, for letting us know about that. It's exciting to hear how OG Labs is using node cells to build their competitive edge as well. And following that, we would like to know more about details for the upcoming OG AI alignment node cell and why this is so important for your project. Thank you.
Sure. So the Zero G Foundation node sale aims to create a decentralized AI operating system that operates transparently, safely, and under community influence. Centralized AI structures may lack these attributes, creating potential risks for data integrity and security. And the Zero G Foundation's goal is to develop AI as a public good. So fostering an ecosystem that prioritizes transparency and reduces reliance on central authorities, make it susceptible for a broad public utility. But what is an AI alignment node anyway, right? So they actually provide the key utility of monitoring whether the other kinds of decentralized nodes in the zero-G network, validator nodes, storage nodes, security nodes, faithfully follow network protocols. To start, the nodes will have certain utility, and in the near future, AI alignment nodes will have additional utility to monitor on-chain AI model drift and to ensure that zero-G's on-chain AI is behaving as intended. And so, to sustain this node utility operation and allow the network to be further secured, alignment nodes owners, they may receive a portion of the fees collected by the network by operating the nodes and contributing work to the zero-G network. So the node sale participants and stakers, i.e., long-term believers who secure this ecosystem, they may get additional rewards from the zero-G ecosystem over time. And the zero-G node sale will be a launch that enables the community to participate on an equal playing field with entry points within multiple tiers.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Jack, for letting us know about that. And friends, once again, we highly recommend everyone to give our speakers and their project a follow because it's definitely well planned and the upcoming AI alignment no sale sounds very unique. Also, it's clear why it's such an important step for OG Labs. And we do have one more question. What excited you the most about the future of OG? Thank you.
Sure. I guess to round this all out, as an alignment node operator in the zero-G ecosystem, users have the opportunity to earn up to 15% of the total zero-G ecosystem supply over the next 3 years by helping secure the network. So, of course, we know that the nodes are rewarded for assisting and checking and verifying the correct behavior of the DA and storage nodes within the network. You're playing a very crucial role. And then, of course, additional rewards may be provided from the zero-G's vibrant and growing ecosystem as a coordinated effort to maintain the AI integrity and security of the platform. So this sale offers holders the chance to join the network, contribute to develop and secure this whole ecosystem, and every user can be prepared for this to start with a whitelist sale that opens on November 11th at 12 p.m. UTC. That's going to remain open for 2 days. And then the whitelisted participants may purchase nodes during this phase. And then we're going to have a public sale on November 13th, 12 p.m. UTC. And that's going to be available to all users. And so we're obviously very excited to see the zero-G ecosystem grow and evolve into this truly decentralized AI infrastructure. And, absolutely join us on this journey of making AI accessible, transparent, secure, and accountable. And we're just happy to see this coming to life. And we're thrilled to have the community play a key role in this journey.
Marvelous. And thank you so much, Jack. Jack is the BD from Zero-G Labs. And I also see Zero-G Labs official handle is in the audience. Friends, feel free to give them a follow. November 11th is definitely a very easy to remember day, right? Double 11. Thank you so much. And one more question. How does Zero-G plan to build a strong network node operator and align your rewards for a long run? Thank you.
Yeah, so as we touched on before, the alignment nodes are going to serve these key functions as checker functions to maintain integrity of the entire network. And then latter, the nodes may help detect malicious data injection and reduce AI model drift. The vesting rewards of the nodes will ensure the community is incentivized to be long-term participants in the ecosystem. So not only are you securing and decentralize the network, but you're going to have so many benefits that are associated with participating this, not just today, but for the long term. And then, upon TGE, we're going to be able to distribute these boards in an equitable fashion. We'll have tiered pricing for the node sale, segmented into 32 pricing tiers, beginning at just 0.05 ETH per node, allowing varied entry points that cater to the diverse participant levels. So, it's very exciting to have so many people on board already, and we just want to really scream from the heavens here about the opportunity to get in, to be here for the long run, and really, of course, take a bet on democratizing AI with us and making it a public good. And that definitely is offered here today by Zero-G Foundation. And we would encourage you to check out our website, which has a great FAQ and more details. You can sign up for the whitelist. That is zerogfoundation.ai. And yeah, my DMs are always open if you want to chat more. So thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Jack, for sharing the long-term vision from Zero G with us. Certainly really, really important. And friends, be sure to give Zero G a follow and also DM Jack if you have any additional questions that you want to ask about. Also, next, we would like to invite Kartik from Aether. And of course, we know that Aether had successfully sold a lot of nodes, right? And Kartik is the head of ecosystem. So we do prepare a lot of questions to ask you, and we would like to learn about the strategy and suggestions to our projects to see what are some recommendations for the project to sell their nodes and run their nodes. The first one is Aether is revolutionizing decentralized cloud infrastructure for gaming and AI. How do node sale help your project decentralize and scale infrastructure? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So if you look at Aether, right, we have two different type of nodes in our infra. The first one, we call them container nodes. These are the ones that provide the GPU to us, the GPU compute. And this is strictly like enterprise grade compute sitting in T3, T4 data centers. So very hard to like do a sale around it, right? Like people, this could be run by professionals. The second one is the checker nodes for which we did the sale. So checker nodes are essentially, in terms of crypto, right? Just think of them as validators on a network. So checker nodes are nothing but verifier nodes. It's essentially our server management software that we decentralized. So we issued like 100,000 licenses of our software, have the public participate in it, and just capped it at 100,000 throughout the life cycle of our project, right? So now what happens is for the container nodes that provide us the compute, somebody needs to come in and validate that compute, right? Track proof of location, proof of bandwidth, make sure the uptime is there, there is low latency, because these factors are very critical from a service level agreement perspective. It's called SLAs in the enterprise world. So once you are talking about the compute business, you for us, like we work with big gaming enterprises, AI enterprises, so they require us to meet strict SLAs, right? They would be like, oh, we need like 99.999% uptime. If somebody's playing game on cloud, like you know how the gamer community is, right? They could not suffer latency issues or whatever. Like it has, since it's happening in real time, it has to be like just top notch, right? The actual gaming experience, there could not be any lag or anything. So this is why we needed the checker nodes to validate the network, to verify the compute on the network. And that's how it basically achieves purpose in our whole ecosystem that we have developed around gaming and AI.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Kartik, for sharing the information with us. And if there's definitely, doing very, very good example. It's clear that decentralization is not just a buzzword right here, but also fundamental part of its growth. And the following question we would like to ask Kartik over here is, could you please explain how this community-centric model helps Ether create a more resilient and distributed gaming and AI ecosystem? Thank you.
Right. Actually, a very good question to just like build up on what we just discussed. So what happens is, now when we are talking about GPUs, since end of the day it's a distributed network, it's a decentralized network. The GPU compute is present globally, right? So let's say if somebody is playing a game in Indonesia, we would want the server to be located as close to that player, right? If somebody's playing in Asia and the compute is coming from US, obviously there would be performance issues, and it would be a huge cost thing as well, right? So the whole idea is, once we have this compute network built globally, now we need the verifier network, the checker nodes network also globally, right? So that, uh, see, to simplify it, these checker nodes, how do they work? They essentially ping these GPUs every minute and take hundreds of snapshots, right? To track performance. And if these container nodes, the GPU compute providers, don't meet their SLAs, we basically slash their stake, because for them to participate in a network, they need to stake ATH token, right? So think of it as a deposit if we draw a parallelism with the Web2 world. So now, once we have this supply side, the GPU compute side globally, and we did this checker node sale taking the community route, the community route is very essential here, because the idea is not to sell those 100,000 licenses or 50,000 licenses. The idea is to sell as many as possible in a decentralized fashion. The numbers should make sense from a network perspective, right? Like, for example, our network would be fine if we had 50,000 nodes. Right now we have 91,000, but our network would have worked well even with 50,000. But those 50,000 cannot be sitting in the hands of a few whales who are, let's say, all of them based in Asia or Europe or US, right? We want this to be with community, with people like you and me. We are operating these based off our homes, out of our homes. So now it's like completely decentralized, right? It's not that out of 90,000, 80,000 are in Asia and 10,000 are in US. Then the network itself is not well established. So you have to achieve a good number, and you have to make sure it's very well decentralized. That's why taking the community route becomes so essential. And then you identify distribution channels for them. So launchpads is, for example, one channel, right? You would tap onto like 10, 20 different launchpads, because they come in from different geographies. They bring in different type of audience. Also, like, they all have different niches, right? Somebody could be in gaming, somebody in AI, somebody in deep end. Um, yeah, so this is how, like, we try to take the community route through different distribution channels in the whitelist sale, and then definitely opened it up to everyone in the public.
Well noted. Thank you so much, Kartik, for letting us know about that. And resilience, right, that comes from a community-centered model is something very decentralized project should strive for. And as a approach, well, we could also learn from your experience as well. And the next question I would like to ask also regarding gaming and AI industry is, how important is it for the gaming and AI industry to adapt decentralized infrastructure, and how did the no sales strategy enable this transition? Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I think I
Yeah,
lost you for a
of
while.
course. So the
Okay,
third
so
question I would like to ask you is about how important is it for the gaming and AI industry to adapt decentralized infrastructure, and how do no sales strategy enable this transition? Thank you.
yeah. So now there are two aspects to this question. Like, see, end of the day, our idea is to offer decentralized compute, right? The biggest use cases right now are in gaming industry or AI industry, or even anyone who needs virtualized compute, right? Like, these could be telcos who are looking to, let's say, launch a cloud phone. Um, so, for example, when we talk about gaming, um, what happens is, a lot of the times, big gamers, like, who are playing heavy games, require like high end infrastructure, right? High end hardware to play the games. So you would have these gaming consoles or your Xboxes, MacBooks, iPhones, whatever, right? In emerging economies, especially, a lot of the times people cannot afford this type of infra. And also, then you have to download a huge file, let's say 10 GB, 20 GB. So there is like some dropout right there, right? What we are trying to solve for is, anyone in emerging economy who cannot afford these high-end devices could at least just play it on a normal device if the game itself could be pushed on cloud, right? So now with cloud, what happens is, you don't have to download the game. You just click on the link. It's instant play in cloud. Just that the performance needs to be there, and that happens through computing power, right? So this really helps solve that challenge of bringing accessibility to emerging economies, like, number one. Second, it also helps like distribution or publishing partners, right? It's easier for them to test out the game, circulate in their environment, and get like good sort of conversion and feedback loop from there. When we talk about AI, now there are a lot of things, just because of decentralization, that we are trying to solve. Like, it's like Web 2 versus Web 3 there. Just the ethos of decentralization, blockchain itself, sort of a lot of challenges with AI, right? So I won't go into those things, because those are like pretty generalized. Your privacy, security, trust issues, and everything else, and just like control, ownership, everything, right? Talking about compute itself, AI inference, for example, like, needs a lot of computing power, and that is very, very expensive. So this is what one of the biggest challenges we are trying to solve for is, and it reflects in gaming also, right? Ultimately, if you have this decentralized network, And then we have a token. And now once you have tokenomics, you can play around with it, right? You can do a lot of cool stuff with it, which is not possible in the Web2 world. Create a price war, give subsidies in tokens from the treasury and everything. So ultimately, this brings down the cost by a lot of factors. Just to give you an example, H100 is pretty commonly known in the compute space. It's basically the gold rush of compute. Now we have H200s coming up as well. But so far, like H100 was the premium one, right? So when we talk about hourly rate of an H100, obviously there are a lot of factors involved. Where is the H100 based? Like the location, the quantity you need, and the prepayment terms, everything. But just generally speaking, um, without taking any names, some of the big Web2 giants, for example, offer it at like $10, $11 per hour. Some of the other Web3 companies could offer it for like $3.50, $4 per hour. At Aether, we are able to bring down the cost to like $2 per hour just because of all of the things that we discussed. So once you're able to solve that cost issues for AI inferencing, for AI companies who really need that computing power, it's a huge cost of their whole runway. If we can cut that down by 70, 80%, that basically helps company to make progress like in a short span of time with a short amount of money, right? So this is what we are trying to solve for there. So again, a lot of benefits just because of Web 2 versus Web 3, but primarily these things around just bringing down the cost, making it more accessible, these things go a long way, and that's a key focus.
Thank you so much, Kartik, for sharing the information with us. Yeah, decentralized infrastructure seems to be the future for both gaming and AI, and Ether is definitely leading the charge. Of course, we have additional question for you, and this is really, really important because we have several projects here today that are either preparing to launch their no sale or have recently launched one. Do you have any suggestions or strategies that you'd like to share for boosting the success for the sale, ensuring its sustainability? Thank you. And this is also for Kartik from Aether. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. The way I see it is people have tried to like now uh, actually not the right words now. Obviously, once we did the note sale, then a lot of other companies did. Um, a lot of the times, what I have been seeing is like note sale might not be a direct fit for a particular project, right? Like in Huddle's case, in Moonwell's case, it makes a lot of sense to do it, right? The notes themselves serve a business purpose, but a lot of the other companies are just trying to force fit the use case. um like they can operate without those nodes also. It's fine if you're doing the node sale, that's great, but the company can function well even without that, right? So those type of players are just using it as a fundraising mechanism, which is fine as well. But you can raise a couple $1 million here and there, but probably not achieve the true purpose of it. So this is where the public is also lost, the trust is getting lost, that everybody's just trying to copy paste doing the node sale. But now, if you see with Huddle, for example, they genuinely need it. And if you take the community first route, if you explain it to community why you really need it, there has to be a lot of education, right? We at it when we were doing it, we had to educate the community a lot. We had to educate all of our distribution channels, partners a lot, because at that time it was fairly new. But now everybody is aware of it. But one key thing you need to do as founders of the company is to do that storytelling thing, right? Why do you really need it? Why should the community care, right? Why should they even run your nodes in the first place? Is it just for some rewards? Like people can generally make more overnight trading meme coins, right? So once you really show that vision, the purpose, and how community is really essential for that, that's where you lay down a good foundation. Like that's the key. Without that, all the strategy planning, GTM you do, it's just a waste of time. Yeah, so that's the key thing. And after that, obviously, it requires a lot of blood and sweat, a lot of like months of planning, and so on. Obviously, you need to like do a lot of marketing around it as well, just from a visibility perspective, education perspective. But all those things come afterwards. My one key piece of advice is just make sure you actually need it, and once you have realized that, convey it to community in the best way possible.
Well said. Thank you so much, Kartik, for sharing your experience and suggestion with us. And this is definitely really important. And Kartik is the head of ecosystem at Aether. Thank you. We are going to go to our next segment over here, and we'd like to invite Jing Han from Blue Whale to answer our very first question. We know that Blue Whale is building decentralized marketplaces. How are no sales an essential part of decentralizing your ecosystem? Thank you.
So actually, we are not building a decentralized marketplace. We are building a intelligence layer on blockchains. And the reason is that both me and my co-founder, we came out of Web2 AI for many years, building out a personalization infrastructure for some of the big guys in the past, like Amazon. And I think what we realize is that only the top 2% of the world have enough consumer data to actually personalize information, content, and assets to individuals. Now, if you assume that in the future people will be sitting on chain, their transactions, their profiles, their engagement will be collected, then you also know that those individuals will be able to funnel into or support or contribute into our AI layer so that our AI becomes smarter. Now, why do we need nodes? Is to decentralize AI, we realize that every individual person in the world has a certain amount of data, certain amount of storage, a certain amount of compute, and it's mostly sitting in their pockets in their mobile devices. So if you look at your own phone, you probably have like more than 80% of your personal data all on there, as well as you have the storage if some of them you are not using, and you have a compute layer that allows you to run AI models on your phone. Now, if you had the opportunity to put nodes on people's phones, having individuals unlock those capabilities through contributing through their phones, then you are achieving a complete new way of decentralizing AI. And that's kind of like what Blue Whale is going after. We want to unlock the 7 billion devices that are already out there by helping, especially when it comes from user experience perspective, make it so simple that even like the grandmas in Korea can run it, on a daily basis and participate. I think one of the things that we learned along the way is that, while it's very critical for a technical setup and for the network to have nodes, but also like for individuals, for the masses to be able to adopt nodes, it has to be extremely simple. And so similar to how ChatGPT was able to turn what OpenAI developed over years into something so delightful, we wanted to turn nodes into something simple and delightful that runs on your phone and makes money on the same at the same time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Henjin, for the clarification. Wow, building intelligence or AI layer on blockchain sounds really cool. And also, it's easy to use even for elders, right? So I would like my grandma to give it a try once.
Yeah, I hope one day the dogs will be able to just tap it every 24 hours and run our nodes that way.
That is amazing. Thank you. And we have a follow-up question. What role does the community play in running and maintaining nodes, and how do you ensure alignment between node operators and the network mission? Thank you.
For sure. So, one of the magical things by putting nodes on people's phones is that you have initially a capability of verifying data, especially when you are running AI and scaling models on chain. The most important thing is that you want to have a secure environment for compute and inference, right? And so often when we are running AI models, we don't want to have a decentralized network where manipulators, attackers can come in and manipulate the model's output, right? So that means like if the data comes into the compute environment and the data that comes out of the compute environment is the same, right? That's literally what the nodes are checking for. Then in this case, we can guarantee that nobody attacked this model. And so, for example, if we are running a recommendation model, the recommendation is actually tied to what your preferences are. Now, if you had an attacker, let's say, like he's trying to insert some data that the model wasn't supposed to digest, primarily to influence it to, so that more recommendations are around his meme coin that you should be buying, then all of a sudden, the model spits out for everybody the same meme coin, and you guys all run to buy his meme coin. And so those kind of things can be avoided by having a decentralized network of people verifying the data that comes in and then also checking the data that comes out. Now, what's magical about the phone is that we believe in the future, as in the next, 3 to 5 years, the storage capacity, the data that you have stored on there, as well as the compute capacity of individual mobile devices will be extremely powerful. Looking at the iPhone 16, right, that is already running a lot of AI models, or looking at some of the new devices that allows individuals to play rendered games for hours on their phone, I do believe that this will just continue to rise as Moore's law will, drive exponential growth of the technology. And so we believe that in the future, let's say, like billions of devices in the world have incredible compute, incredible storage, and incredible data that individuals with the Blue Whale node will be able to contribute that into our network, and that's something we can unlock along the way.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Jing, for letting us know all the information. And Mr. Jing is the founder at Blue Whale. They're also going to launch an AI layer on blockchain, which is very amazing. We have another question over here for you. How do you see the future of decentralized? How do you see a future of AI layer on blockchain being shaped by the use of community-driven infrastructure like no cells? Thank you.
For sure. So I feel, because we came, and we did two startups in the Web2 space and AI for the last decade, we realized that AI in the Web2 world is very centralized. And so our biggest concern, as you have seen in the last couple, quarters, that people were complaining that individuals, a single person is deciding on the direction of AI. And so by decentralizing AI on the blockchain through Blue Whale nodes, you are giving individual people the power to not just contribute, but also govern on the direction of where the AI will go. And so we are adding functionality as we speak into our node capabilities because we believe that it should be a democratic decision on where AI should go in the future versus like just decided by Elon Musk or Sam Altman. And that's where I believe decentralized AI can play a huge or even like a bigger picture a role in the impact of it has on the on every single person on this planet.
True. Thank you so much. And we could clearly see Google's vision of allowing the community to help shape and maintain these AI layer on blockchains, not only innovative, but also a great example of how decentralization could be practical and impactful. Once again, thank you so much for answering the question, Mr. Jing, founder of Blue Whale. We are going to go over to our next segment. We'd like to invite Peter from X Portugal, and Peter is a co-founder at X Portugal using the official handle over here. The first question for you is, we know X Protocol is focused on decentralized virtual world, right? How does no cell fit into your vision for scaling and decentralizing these worlds? Thank you.
Sure. So yeah, we are actually focused on building a decentralized entertainment and gaming ecosystem. You can call these virtual worlds, but it's mostly building the ecosystem itself that is related to entertainment and gaming. So we allow users to monetize directions and help other Web3 projects to distribute their products to a quality audience, to our device holders, as well as our users, 1.5 million users in the ecosystem. So for us, the node sales are foundational elements in the vision for a decentralized world, so to speak. So by enabling them to operate nodes through our export smartphone devices, we are giving them a direct role in powering these environments and allowing them to earn rewards for supporting network functions. The nodes also enhance the scalability and decentralization of our own chain, and they empower users to actively participate in the ecosystem's growth and longevity as well, while providing other Web3 projects and also chains that we are integrating on our device with a reliable infrastructure to run their own nodes and engage a quality audience. So every node that is operated by our user, whether it's through our devices or their own devices, if they operated with our own devices with Xforge, they get 20% boost for incentivization. It allows for creating a resilient ecosystem that can expand rapidly with the network effect as more users join and contribute. So our chain itself, X Protocol chain, is a good case study of integration within the Xforge device, and we look forward to implement other chains. We already have some of the partnerships lined up that we will be announcing, and also relevant projects such as Paddle 01 and also Blue Whale, potentially that will help us process the data to take our our project and the ecosystem to the next level, essentially.
Wow, thank you so much, Peter, for sharing the information with us. And it's also definitely really exciting to think about the potential for entertainment and game ecosystem that are truly run and governed by the community, right? So it could be a major milestone for decentralized reality, yeah, pretty soon. And we have a follow-up question over here. What are the main benefits for the community when they participate in running nodes through X protocol, and how does it affect the network's growth? Thank you.
Yeah, so running nodes within X protocol, particularly with our X4 GTM devices, offers our community members some unique benefits, including monetization opportunities and access to exclusive rewards, either ours via our token or our partner project tokens. So we have roughly 30% allocated both for the node runners and Xforge smartphone owners, sells 20% for the node runners and 10% for device owners. So when users operate the nodes, they aren't just earning essentially a passive income. They are also ensuring that the ecosystem remains decentralized and resilient. And it allows for a quicker scaling and with a network effect that is responsive and adaptable to essentially user needs. So as more of the community members participate in running nodes, and we introduce the devices to simplify the process of running the nodes themselves, and to also potentially onboard Web2 users who don't need to go through a complex process of running the nodes and themselves, setting up their own wallets and such. We will have kind of the abstraction model built in our Xforge app, built in our pre-installed on our devices, to make the ecosystem more robust and capable of essentially supporting diverse entertainment and gaming experiences. And also at the same time, attracting high quality Web3 projects looking to engage a dedicated user base within our and also partner projects. So this model of essentially user-powered infrastructure drives the ecosystem growth by creating a sustainable and user-driven foundation.
Nice, sustainable and user-driven foundation. Also earning passive income, yeah, for the participants through running nodes for X protocol is certainly really cool. Thank you so much, Peter, for letting us know about that. And next, also, we would like to know about how do you foresee the future of decentralized entertainment and gaming ecosystem with more projects adapting the no-sale strategy as a way to empower communities? Thank you.
Sure. So I think that as more projects adopt nodes and the DPN devices which can run the nodes like such as Xforge, we might be moving toward a future where users can be the true stakeholders of their respective ecosystems, like in our case, decentralized entertainment and gaming ecosystem. So instead of being only passive consumers, they are potentially becoming active contributors because of the incentivization mechanism, and shaping essentially not only infrastructure and content, but also governance of the spaces that they interact with. So this kind of new approach of a layer of engagement and ownership as users earn the rewards can shape potentially the direction and support the ecosystem growth by distributing the right content and products to the right audiences. So in the long run, these decentralized ecosystems can evolve into a vibrant, that's how we imagine self-sustaining networks that can reflect the interests of the users, and offering Web3 projects a kind of a distribution a tool to reach the quality on the audience, which is already invested in the ecosystem's kind of success.
Thank you so much, Peter, for sharing all the perspective with us and future for decentralized entertainment and gaming ecosystem. definitely looks incredibly exciting, right? I'm also an avid gamer, yeah, myself in the Web3 space. So looking forward to seeing it to be in reality. And next, well, it is actually we're going to close our space event right now, and I would like to share some data with everyone. During peak time today, we have around 200 live audience joining us on our Twitter space, and now we saw have over 170, right? And we are streaming on Binance Live as well, and I would like to refresh our data on Binance Live. We have over 1,400 live views over there on Binance Live. Actually, 14,000. Wow, that is a lot. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, whether with platform that you are from. And we also are being featured. Yeah, this event has been featured on the homepage of Binance Live. And so that everyone could just go to Binance.com or use the Binance app, and then you can find our event talking about no sales as a GTM for bottom up economy, right? Well, right now we definitely see the growth of our Web3 space, and we would like to thank all of our amazing speakers and builders for sharing your insights on no sales and the future of decentralized ecosystems. I've touched on everything from decentralized communication to entertainment ecosystem, right? Gaming infrastructure, and also AI layer on blockchain, all driven by the community and powered by no sales. For those who wanted to learn more about these exciting projects and their no sales plans, friends, be sure to give a follow. We have our speakers from either Zero G Labs, Moonville, Blue Whale, Huddle01, X Protocol, and of course Arbitron, right? And be sure to give them follow so that you will not miss additional information. Future of decentralization is very bright. Also, thanks to over 70 comments. Wow, over here, asking a lot of constructive questions, right? And later, the organizer, Huddle01, they are going to select 4 winners to receive media node licenses. And once again, congratulations in advance to our top listeners and those who with the best questions. Moonlight, I'm done speaking. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thanks
everyone.
for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Anand.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Jake.
you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Karthik. Yeah. Bye,
Good day.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks to Moonlight for like coordinating everything, and thanks everyone for being here. Really love,
Thank
and
you.
thanks to all the speakers. Bye bye. Happy Choti Diwali. So there's like a festive season right now in India. So it's called Diwali. So it's called Festival of Lights. So today is like a smaller version of it. Kind you can say it's like whitelist of Diwali, and then like in like the other day it would be like a very major festival. So yeah, we'll wish everyone best of luck for whatever things that you are
Yeah, all the best.
doing
I
for
think
it.
X Protocol started the sale today. All the best to them. I just saw that they have been doing fantastic work. So please check that as well. Today they just did a very good thing. Blue Whale is also doing that as well. And yeah, um, you might have also seen Ether Edge right now. They are. I think their first phase was sold out. There are more things happening. So I think a lot of good things happening on the node sales direction. And from our side as well, our media nodes, we're getting very good organic traction. We want it to be as decentralized as possible. Anyone can run it from any place on earth, and it's really important for humanity to thrive. And we have been doing it that ourselves over the years, but it would be awesome to have the community run these nodes themselves and power the future of communication. You'll find all the details on the website. Yeah.
Yeah, and like other updates, like do join Huddle's Discord. I think a lot of actions happen actually there. So yeah, bye bye guys. Take care. Have a nice day.
Happy Diwali. Thank you.
Bye.